The screen is visible?
Yes.
Okay. Dhaval bhai, we'll come to your question later on. Shall we first start the session?
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay. The words soul and psychic. One second. Yeah. Last time somebody had read. Archana ji, would you like to read just this section? Then we'll.
Yeah, I'll read. The words soul and psychic. The European mind, for the most part, has never been able to go beyond the formula of soul plus body, usually including mind in soul and everything except body in mind. Some occultists make a distinction between spirit, soul, and body. At the same time, there must be some vague feeling that soul and mind are not quite the same thing, for there is the phrase, "This man has no soul," or "he is a soul," meaning he has something in him beyond a mere mind and body. But all that is very vague. There is no clear distinction between mind and soul, and none between mind and vital, and often the vital is taken for the soul. Psychic is ordinarily used in the sense of anything relating to the inner movements of the consciousness or anything phenomenal in the psychology. In this case, I have made a special use of it, relating to it, relating it to the Greek word psyche, meaning soul. But ordinarily, people make no distinction between the soul and the mental vital consciousness. For them, it is all the same. Psychic, in the sense in which it is used commonly by people, has no definite meaning. It is applied to anything non physical or supra physical. In the language of our yoga, it refers always to the inner soul. Therefore, the use of the words psychic significance is incorrect here. One can say occult significance or symbolic significance or inner significance. Psychic significance we can we can say only of experiences belonging to the psychic as opposed to the mental, vital, and physical planes.
Right. Thank you. Basically, he is explaining his rationale for the uh, coinage of the word psychic being, though I don't think he has said specifically about the coining of that new term, but basically why he's using the word psychic when the word soul is already there, and etc. etc. We have referred to this uh, earlier on, but here is the proper explanation. And the words soul and psychic. The European mind, for the most part, has never been able to go beyond the formula of soul plus body, usually including mind in soul and everything except body in mind. One second. Yeah. Yeah. So there is either the body or the soul, including mind and soul. So basically, like what we call psychological, the word psychological. Psychological is not got to do with the soul. If we see the word from its roots, psychological means the mental, that way. So that is an example of how the word, uh, can basically the confusion between the mind and the soul. And I'll just read this again. The European mind has never been able to go beyond the formula soul plus body, usually including mind and soul, and everything except body in mind. Some occultists make a distinction between spirit, soul, and body. Spirit is generally used when, like, by this kind of people for disembodied beings. He's a spirit, or spiritism, as it was called. ये जो Sri Aurobindo had also practiced. क्या बोलते हैं उसको? When you write on the word, I'm forgetting. Uh, the word is slipping my mind. Uh, where you sit together, some people sit together and they do this planchette, that kind of thing. PLANCHE. Right? So spiritism बोलते थे उस तरह के phenomena को. So that way. I'll come back to this. At the same time, there must be some vague feeling that the soul and mind are not quite the same thing. For there is the phrase, this man has no soul, or he is a soul, meaning he has something in him beyond a mere mind and body. But all that is very vague. There is no clear distinction between mind and soul, and none between mind and vital. And often the vital is taken for the soul, or not just the mind, but even the vital. Hmm. This is an, I should say here that in the synthesis of yoga in the beginning, for this particular reason, he says that it is only the Sanskrit language in which the higher consciousness experiences and inner consciousness experiences, etc., have been put together in a proper vocabulary in the Sanskrit language. So that is why, that is actually the main reason. Sri Aurobindo definitely, I mean, he had a very great love for Sanskrit and all things Indian, but there is a practical reason also for the use of Sanskrit terms throughout his literature, and that is that those things, for some of the experiences, states of consciousness, entities, etc., etc., they can only be formulated clearly, or they have been formulated clearly only in the Sanskrit language. That's why. Yeah. So once again, I'm not. The European mind, for the most part, has never been able to go beyond the formula of soul plus body, usually including mind and soul, and everything except body and mind. Clear enough. Some occultists make a distinction between spirit, soul, and body. At the same time, there must be some feeling that soul and mind are not quite the same thing, for there is the phrase, this man has no soul. Man means mind, or he is a soul, meaning he has something in beyond a mere mind and body. Hmm. Mind is obviously, the thoughts, what we see all the time buzzing in our head, so to speak, mixed with the desires, which is the vital emotions, passions, ambitions, all that, right? But the soul, as we have uh, um, said earlier, is something more subtle. So, that small voice in the heart, which we feel, the small promptings that, especially if we are about to do something which we should not do. So, no, that the voice of conscience, basically, that is that, right? But all that is very vague. There is no clear distinction between mind and soul, and none between mind and vital, none between mind and vital. In fact, like आजकल भी आप मॉडर्न योगा की टर्मिनोलॉजी देखें, व्हाट इज द टर्मिनोलॉजी? बॉडी, माइंड एंड स्पिरिट, दैट्स इट. वेयर इज द वर्ड वाइटल? ये जो योगा स्टूडियो वाले लोग हैं, या ऑल दीज पीपल, लॉट ऑफ पीपल टीचिंग योगा, व्हाट इज द वोकैबुलरी? बॉडी, माइंड, स्पिरिट. वो क्लियर डिस्टिंक्शन दैट नो, इट्स वाइटल एंड माइंड, एंड दिस गोज बैक टू द वेद. पुराना एक श्लोक है, बहुत पुराना, मतलब ऋग्वेद का. चत्वारि श्रृंगा त्रयो अस्य पादा द्वे शीर्षे सप्तहस्तासो अस्य त्रिधा बद्धो वृषभोरोरवीति महोदेवो मर्त्याम आविवेश. I should explain, matlab I should, since I mentioned it. So there, matlab it's very, very old knowledge, psychological knowledge. They clearly say there are 7 principles. Chatvari Shringa. First, I'll just translate. They are giving the knowledge in the form of the symbol of a bull. Okay, Vrishabha, right? They're saying 4 are the horns. Chatvari Shringa. Trayo Asya Pada. 3 are the feet. The 4 are basically the 4 higher principles, that is Supermind and Satchit Ananda. त्रयो अस्य पादा मीन्स द 3 लोअर प्रिंसिपल्स, जिसको गीता में त्रिलोक बोलते हैं फर्स्ट चैप्टर में. अपि त्रैलोक्य राज्यस्य हेतोः किम नु महि कृते. आई वुड नॉट किल देम even for the dominion of the 3 worlds, what to speak of just the earth, right? So चत्वारि शृंगा त्रयो अस्य पादा द्वे शीर्षे. I mean, this shloka itself requires a half an hour, maybe even more explanation. Dve Shirshe basically means the subjective and objective side of existence. Basically, it means the Purusha and Prakriti, the Ishvara and Shakti, the masculine and feminine, right? That way. Dve Shirshe, everything has that. The silent witness supporting and the active side, objective side in play. Okay. Saptahastaso. Saptahastaso, seven hands. These very same principles in their hands means movement, some action. So in their executive form, in action, right? Tridha Baddho. Three are the bonds. Three are the bonds. I may have referred to this Rick earlier. Three are the bonds by which this bull is tied. They say Tridha Baddho Vrishabho Roraviti. And the bull roars. The English word roar comes from this Sanskrit root. Roraviti. This is the Sanskrit word. Roar is the same as English roar, except the ra is complete, followed by the akara and viti. Okay. Vrishabho roro viti mahodevo martyam avivesha. A great god has entered into the mortals. That great god referred to there is basically the psychic being. It is the psychic being, basically. Kya? Mahodevo, a great god. Devo literally means light. Light, play, basically light. Mahodevo martyam, among the mortals, avivesha, has entered. नाउ दिस इज एज ओल्ड एज द ऋग वेद. ये वामदेव का लिखा हुआ श्लोक है, प्रॉब्ली इन द फिफ्थ मंडला. आई विल शेयर इट. इट्स मतलब दिस इटसेल्फ, इसका ट्रांसलेशन भी बाय श्री अरबिंदो, right? So this clear distinction between the three lower and the four higher was there. In the Taittiriya Upanishad, it comes as five: Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. But gradually, धीरे धीरे, maybe India में भी वो distinction lose हुआ. अभी भी जैसे the Hindi people. So when we say मन, मेरे मन में ये बात आई, मेरा मन खिन्न है, etc., etc. When we say मन, do we mean mind? No, we mean the vital. And the word man is actually coming from the Sanskrit word manas, which means neither the mind nor the mind vital. It means the sense mind. Sense mind is indriya. It's part of the physical apparatus actually. Subtle physical, you could say, that way. It's the main indriya which is basically catching the inputs of the five external indriyas and giving the command to the five external indriyas. Manas. वो manas से हिंदी में मन बन गया है, but when we say मन, मतलब मन इज क्लोजर टू माइंड ना, वर्ड वाइज. दैट्स व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू क्लैरिफाई. तो वो प्रॉब्लम है लैंग्वेज में. सो देयरफॉर अ ग्रेट डील ऑफ एफर्ट इन, स्पेशली इन स्टडिंग अध्यात्म, की वर्ड्स का क्लैरिटी. And I mean, from my experience, I would say, of course, it is necessary to know Sanskrit. Necessary in the sense, very helpful. And as Indians, we should learn Sanskrit, Mother has said. But sometimes a lot of effort and energy is spent in mapping the Sanskrit terms to the English terms and Hindi to this, that, Purane system ka, etc., etc. वो, I mean, it can be very practical. या तो हम पार्ट को दो में डिवाइड करें अपने माइंड को. One part, I'm just sticking to the integral yoga, following the terminology of Sri Aurobindo, and that's it. So you have a clear mind, clear terms. He has created a system of yoga, very, very clear terms. This is what this means, and in great detail. जितना डिटेल में श्री अरबिंदो ने बताया है, संस्कृत वर्ड्स may not be there for some of them, right? So that can be one approach. Okay. So yeah, there is no clear distinction between mind and soul, and none between mind and vital, and often the vital is taken for the soul. जैसे मैंने पहले बोला था, desired soul जो है, there is a chapter in the Life Divine, that is confused for the soul. मतलब मन कर रहा है, डिजायर भरा हुआ है, ये चाहिए वो चाहिए, but to delude ourselves, my soul wants this. No, it's not the soul. The soul actually, in that sense, अगर देखा जाए, it doesn't want anything. It is free of demand, as we read last time. What is it full of? Self-giving, right? That is the way to distinguish between whether this is a vital movement or a psychic movement. The psychic movement will not have that demand in it. It will have giving.
Anmol bhai,
Yeah.
actually the words, they pollute our mind and consciousness. The wrong, this kind of words which we use. जो आपने अभी बताया हिंदी में, ये यदि हम करेक्ट वर्ड्स यूज करें तो हमारा आत्मा क्लैरिटी भी अपने आप बढ़ेगा,
Definitely.
और ये जो पोल्यूशन है
That is why.
वो चला जाएगा. बट
Very well said.
अनफॉर्चुनेटली हम ये कलोक्वियली कैसे इसमें करना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है. कोई बोलेगा ये क्या बातें कर रहे हैं ये लोग.
नहीं, so listen. हाँ, आप
हाँ
बोलिए पहले, just finish yourself.
हाँ, so this is what I wanted to say कि इसका प्रॉब्लम, चलो हम यहाँ पर
Mother has given the
है
solution.
क्लास में है हम लोग, वी हैव अ लाइक माइंडेड पीपल, वहाँ वोकेबुलरी हम समझते हैं, बट हाउ डू यू यू नो डू इट प्रैक्टिकली
See, number one,
colloquially? हाँ,
number one, nothing should be done, because I have to do this करके, ठीक है? So when the change of consciousness will happen within ourselves, automatically our language will become more and more purified. ठीक है? Ordinary language, coarse language, we become incapable of using that as our consciousness becomes more refined. ठीक है? Now,
हाँ, ये बात सही है, करेक्ट करेक्ट
as
करेक्ट।
a result of the refinement in consciousness, you will automatically, of course, you have to know some Sanskrit and you have to have an opening towards it, etc. You will find that your Hindi or even Gujarati, Telugu, whichever language, Marathi, jo bhi hoga, it will start becoming more and more Sanskritized automatically from within.
यस, दिस हैज
Because
बीन अ
Sanskrit is the
पार्ट ऑफ
language of the soul.
या
Huh?
नहीं, आपने जो बोला दिस हैज बीन अ पार्ट ऑफ माय एक्सपीरियंस एज वेल, लेकिन वो नहीं समझता फिर भी
I
लोगों को।
understand. I understand. So, I mean, you have to slightly like there was a person here in the ashram. Great respect to him. His name was Vishnu Lalit. Arya Vishnu bolte the. So he would not speak in any other language except Sanskrit. He was a Sanskrit teacher, and mother has said some incredible things regarding Sanskrit. One of the solutions for what you are saying, given by mother, is ki do not have that scholarly or academic kind of Sanskrit, but a simplified Sanskrit based on the word roots. That should be the national language of India. And in fact, I have heard this in a talk of Vladimir Yatsenko. Sanskrit lost to Hindi by just one vote, and Hindi became the de facto national language. Otherwise, Sanskrit would have been the national language. And then, the effort towards a simplified Sanskrit, if it had been made since 1947, our language would have been much more purer, and by virtue of that, our consciousness would have been much more purer today and much more
करेक्ट
illumined, actually.
करेक्ट करेक्ट।
Yes.
इवन इफ यू रीड प्रेमचंद हिंदी, दैट इज वेरी क्लोज to that higher level of consciousness, like the higher
तो
Hindi which we
नेचुरली अब लिटरेटर जो होते हैं, साहित्य वाले साहित्यकार, उनका तो होगा ही होगा। सो बट उसमें क्या हुआ कि आई मीन आई हैव सीन हिम पेरेंट्स समटाइम्स ऐसे ही, जस्ट ऐसे ही, आई हैव नॉट इंटरेक्टेड विद हिम पर्सनली, वो हिंदी में बोल रहे हैं, इंग्लिश में, ही इज नॉट स्पीकिंग एनीथिंग एल्स एक्सेप्ट संस्कृत, तो इट बिकम्स अ लिटिल इम्प्रैक्टिकल। बट उतना नहीं, दैट वाज अ वेरी एक्सट्रीम लेवल, यू कुड से। टोटल
comments।
डिवोशन टू मदर, नो डाउट, कमेंडेबल
करेक्ट।
डिवोशन टू मदर, हर इंस्ट्रक्शंस। बट वही आप पता है, अगेन, as your consciousness is refining and changing from within, automatically your language quality is
यस
improving and becoming
यस
Sanskritized.
यस यस, वो
And I personally, I will tell you, I am making to whatever extent, nothing should be done fanatically or in a very narrow and that kind of spirit. But अपनी तरफ से I have tried to make some effort to purify my Hindi to get more Sanskrit words, जैसे उर्दू या उसके words हैं, तो you can feel the difference in the vibration. ठीक है?
यस यस
अगर आप
यस
बिल्कुल
यस
बोलो
यस
and then आप अवश्य बोलो, there is such a difference.
यस यस।
अवश्य मतलब मेरा बस नहीं चलेगा, and mushkil bolo instead of that katinai bolo. This is not a Sanskrit session. We'll come back to the letters, but it makes a huge difference.
No, no, you are
This
right.
is something we should do individually on our own to look for the Sanskrit nishtha words for the Hindi that we are speaking, the day-to-day Hindi. And if we do this will make a huge difference. Revolution आ जाएगा. And वो gradually
Absolutely.
होता है. एक और
नहीं
चीज है
नहीं,
इसमें.
I agree, and also the more utterance of Sanskrit shlokas
Yes,
automatically
yes,
just those words just surge up. You
yes,
don't even have to make effort. That
yes,
has
and
been some experience of mine, at least on this I'm sharing here.
yes,
But
yes,
वो अपने आप उत्सर्जन होता है उन शब्दों का।
exactly. Exactly.
तो पर
बाकी
हाँ।
द रियलिटी जो बोलते हैं कि भाई संस्कृत वाज नेवर रियली अ पॉपुलर, मतलब इट वाज मे बी एट वेरी लॉन्ग टाइम अगो, बट इट वाज नॉट अ स्पोकन लैंग्वेज अमंग जनरल, वो ऐसे नहीं बोलते थे, तो इट वाज लाइक वो जो स्कॉलरली लोग थे, दे न्यू, द पंडित्स न्यू, एंड सम ट्रांसलेटर टाइप ऑफ पीपल, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल 300 years ago, how would a king in Gujarat communicate with a king in Bengal, let's say, or in Tamil Nadu? So the common language of communication was Sanskrit only. ठीक है? बट इट
हम्म।
वाज, हाँ, इट वाज अ लाइक, जैसे लैटिन ग्रीक है यूरोप में, लैटिन ग्रीक कोई नहीं बोलता, पहले भी कुछ ही लोग बोलते होंगे दैट वे। सो इट वाज अ सिलेक्ट फ्यू हु न्यू इट एंड हु वर स्पीकिंग इट। बट यस, आई मीन वी शुड मेक एफर्ट कि वो जितना हो सके, एंड सी इट्स द लैंग्वेज ऑफ द सोल, एंड व्हेन यू से सच वर्ड्स, वो आएगा, फैलेगा, तो एवरीबॉडी सोल विल रिस्पॉन्ड एंड द क्वालिटी विल इम्प्रूव।
No,
So
and also
it's a
I've
long drawn out process actually.
yes, no, you are right. Also,
Yeah,
if you have
yeah,
observed, when
yeah,
you speak these words,
yeah.
there is a automatic harmony which builds
Yes, exactly. Very beautiful. Thank you for sharing this. Yes. Thank you for saying this. Sanskrit, mein, I mean, it's a dream if we can be speaking in
not
Sanskrit.
in Sanskrit, even refined
Yes,
Sanskritized
yes,
words in normal colloquial language.
yes, yes.
Uh, that harmony
And
just
many of the
dissolves.
words actually we don't realize वो सीधा आए हैं directly. जिनको क्या बोलते हैं तत्सम बोलते हैं हिंदी में. They've come directly from Sanskrit. Tadbhav are the ones who have taken a slightly different form, but their root is Sanskrit. So in all the Indian languages, they are there. But it makes a difference if you become conscious about it and you try to consciously improve the quality of your language. But इसमें भी, as I said right in the beginning of this discussion, कि we should concentrate on the purification of our consciousness. Sanskrit is a tool for that. Reading the Gita in the original Sanskrit, reading the Upanishads, these are tools and they are very powerful tools. Chanting a mantra. But the aim should not be the language, the aim should be the purification of consciousness. Reading Savitri can purify your consciousness very, very powerfully.
Yeah.
Right?
Also, if you have observed, when the other person is angry, okay, for example, on a roadside, something happens
Yeah.
and the other person is angry. And if you talk in refined English, not
Yes.
English, but English can, या हल्की हिंदी जो बोलते हैं,
Yes.
वो बढ़ा देता है. But the
Exactly.
संस्कृताइज्ड हिंदी बोलोगे कि ना, तो सामने वाले के मन पे प्रभाव
Yes.
ऐसा पड़ता है कि
Yes.
उसका गुस्सा भी शांत हो जाता है. ये
विवेकानंद
मैंने प्रैक्टिकली ऑब्जर्व किया है.
आप जो बिल्कुल बिल्कुल सही बोल रहे हो, बिल्कुल सही बोल रहे हो. विवेकानंदा, टुडे इज हिज बर्थडे, स्वामी विवेकानंदा's birthday. So he gave one very practical solution for the elevation of the depressed classes. He said, learn a little Sanskrit. That's it. The moment you speak a little Sanskrit, you will
Beautiful.
start getting respect in India. And it's not about getting respect. We should
No,
all
no.
elevate each other's consciousness now by use of a greater and purer language. Why not?
Correct. Unfortunately, this is difficult in English. ये जो थोड़ा
नहीं मतलब if it is as classy as Sri Aurobindo's English, then but वो level नहीं आएगा. Of course, nothing
नहीं,
can.
वो फिर भद्रम भद्र बोलते हैं लोग अपने
Exactly,
को.
exactly. Even Hindi, आप last and then we'll come back.
Yeah.
Even like my mother tongue is Hindi. So the moment I started getting interested in Sanskrit more seriously and थोड़ा बहुत बोलने का प्रयास किया, so even Hindi you will find it's infinitely inferior. कोई comparison ही नहीं है. So Sanskrit is Sanskrit. It is the Deva Bhasha. There is no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Swami Vivekananda, in the last 3 years, sorry, on his last day on earth, ठीक है, 3 hour session in the morning. He left his body, I don't know exactly when, but he had a 3 hour session on his last day on earth on Sanskrit grammar. Just imagine how much importance he gave to Sanskrit. Yes, on his last day on earth. So, yeah, ठीक है. Sorry for जिनका संस्कृत में उतना इंटरेस्ट नहीं है. Sorry to those people. Any questions anybody has on this? What we have read so far? Yes.
साइकिक का संस्कृत में क्या बोलेंगे? संस्कृत
साइकिक को श्री अरबिंदो ने कहा है चैत्य पुरुष. साइकिक being the word that he has chosen in Sanskrit is चैत्य पुरुष. For short, many people call it चैत्य also, simply चैत्य.
And this has been coming to my mind for
अंतरात्मा, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, जो मतलब near to the far के principle, the words which we know already, चैत्य पुरुष is a word which Sri Aurobindo has given to us. अंतरात्मा, this is the word which is used in the Kathopanishad. So अंतरात्मा word is correct for psychic being.
And for people who do not understand these complicated words, whether it may be Sanskrit or it may be English.
Yes.
So I think when you raise your consciousness,
Yes.
when you are living in compassion, when
Yes.
you are kind, when there is no otherness, you feel that oneness.
Exactly.
When you meet people. So
Yeah.
basically you are raising your levels of consciousness.
Yes. Yes.
And normally we are yo-yoing, from sometimes we are good, sometimes we are, in different levels, phases of consciousness. But our object of life should be to be permanently in that highest
No
level.
othering, as you said, कि कोई दूसरा नहीं है.
नहीं है. Permanently we should be in that situation. Am I correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The aim is to reach that oneness and to be established in that consciousness. So, उसी को विद्या बोलते हैं. Anything short of that is ignorance. It may be lesser and lesser levels of ignorance, but it's still ignorance. This is the definition given by Sri Aurobindo of knowledge and ignorance. Vidya or knowledge is the consciousness of unity, and avidya is when you do not have that consciousness of unity.
Thank you.
So one more thing, Anmol Bhai, which I think who said right now? GT ji said, I
Yes,
don't know.
GT.
To add to that, when you are in a higher station of consciousness, operating from that higher poise or whatever, the words automatically become less because the vibration takes over, and that
Exactly.
And
And actually, you are in a आपका inner एक connection बना हुआ है, and then it's not like Ramana Maharshi would speak in Tamil, right? He would not speak in Sanskrit. He spoke very less. He spoke very, very less. Or mother's main language was French, right? But if mother says 2 sentences to you in French, then that's it. मतलब उसका जो effect होगा आपकी consciousness पे, मतलब it's just, it's the consciousness which the person is embodying. That is the main thing. Language is the vehicle. But yes, language can also be used as an instrument for the elevation of your consciousness. Right? जैसे what we are doing right now in Sanskrit, it is called अध्ययन. ठीक है? The English word is study. Just this example. Study से आपको क्या समझ में आता है? पढ़ रहे हैं, समझने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, etc., etc., and then other ideas would follow. But the word अध्ययन in Sanskrit, adhi मतलब ऊपर, ayan मतलब journey. So the word itself means going above. जो
correct.
जीती बोल रही थी, going into a higher consciousness. So
Yeah,
that is the quality, that is what the Indian culture's quality and that innate spirituality and मतलब incredible depth क्या मतलब they have sounded the depths, उसके नीचे कुछ है ही नहीं. They've gone to the absolute depths of human consciousness.
yeah.
That's why the Gita, Upanishads, Hriddeshe, Ishvara Tishtati, these are all discoveries that people have made over the centuries and millenniums.
And generally in the ashram there, what I have found, at least when my uncle was living,
Yes.
I mean, his times, even if uncle used to come to my house, or you are, being along with people, even if they don't speak, but the atmosphere that they carry around them,
Exactly.
one just bees in that atmosphere, you are automatically the what you call the serrations in your mind and the ups and downs or the yo-yoing as you mentioned, just
It all
dampens.
calms down.
It dampens a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the quality of consciousness. And real communication happens in silence.
Hey, true. That is exactly, I mean, in Life Divine,
When
Sri
the
Aurobindo
teacher
says,
or
right?
between two people, they have to say something to communicate, that means there is already a fall in the connection. So the
Correct.
this thing happens in silence when there is no need to say anything.
Correct.
चल. Okay.
अनमोल, वो अध्ययन का जो आपने बताया था ना अभी, एक उसको जो
Yes.
स्प्लिट किया था, प्लीज एक बार और बता दो.
Yes. Why not? So it's broken as adhi,
अधि.
adhi, ध के ऊपर छोटी ई की मात्रा.
हाँ जी.
ठीक है. जैसे हमने बोला ना, अध्यक्ष वर्ड हमने कई बार यूज किया था फॉर द सेंट्रल बीइंग और द जीवात्मन, राइट? अध्यक्ष बीइंग द इक्विवेलेंट ऑफ द इंग्लिश वर्ड प्रेसिडेंट. तो हमने क्या कहा था? अधि प्लस अक्ष. अक्ष मतलब देखना, अधि मतलब ऊपर. तो अधि मीन्स ऊपर, फ्रॉम अबव. एंड अयन, अयन मीन्स जर्नी. सो दक्षिणायन, उत्तरायण, रामायण, राम का जर्नी. रामायण इज द जर्नी ऑफ राम. The root of ayan is e, simply chota e. That there are some single consonant or single vowel. Single consonant का probably मैं पता नहीं है या नहीं है, but single vowel के अभी भी 2 रूट सर्वाइव करते हैं. E, simply e meaning to go, और री, ऋषि वाला री meaning to attain. They are still और ऊ का लोप हो चुका है, the original meaning. Even they had a verbal meaning, simply the vowels and u. इतना चलो कोई नहीं. ई मीन्स टू गो, तो ई के आगे कुछ प्रीफिक्स सफिक्स लगा के अयन बनता है. ठीक है. संस्कृत में ई जो है, जब हम उसके आगे कुछ मॉडिफाई अ लगाते हैं, इट बिकम्स य. य इज द कॉरेस्पॉन्डिंग सेमी वावल फॉर द वावल ई. ओके, सो अ य न, full words all. A ya na, this means journey. So adhi plus a ya na. Adhi meaning upar, above. Ayan meaning journey. Adhyan literally means going above, journeying above. The consciousness starts to go above. अध्ययन का मतलब ही यही है.
Beautiful.
This is the magic of Sanskrit. Yeah, yeah.
That's why you don't need dictionary.
Mm,
Sampath used to tell us.
yeah. Yeah, this, by the way, this knowledge, I mean, I didn't know this myself. It didn't come from within. Sampath ji had told us in one of his sessions. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Anmol.
Most welcome. Most welcome. Shall we read the next one? Okay. Okay. Psychic is ordinarily used in the sense of anything relating to the inner movements of the consciousness or anything phenomenal in psychology. 1 minute. In this case, I have made a special use of it, relating it to the Greek word psyche, meaning soul. But ordinarily, people make no distinction between the soul and the mental vital consciousness. For them, it is all the same. Right. Right. So basically, in normal English parlance, outside Sri Aurobindo's integral yoga system, psychic is generally used in the sense of anything relating to the inner movements of the consciousness or anything phenomenal in the psychology. जैसे ये लोग जो medium बनते हैं, they say that we can communicate. They are simply called psychics. But does that mean that they are Atmavan? The Sanskrit word for somebody who has found his soul is Atmavan. I think Gita mein word aata hai in exactly this form. Have they found their psychic being? Not necessarily. They may have, they may not have. In general, they are not that deep. In general. In general. It's more commercial and all that. Psychics jinko bolte. I mean, maybe they are, but I'm just trying to explain the meaning of the word. So psychic is ordinarily used in the sense of anything relating to the inner movements of the consciousness or anything phenomenal in the psychology. It's actually the Greek word is psyche. Uska meaning soul hota hai. So rebirth in Greek is called metempsychosis. माने उस साइके का चेंज होना फ्रॉम वन फॉर्म टू अनदर. मेटा का मतलब मेटेम्प वहां पे क्या है? आई हैव टू लुक अप.
तो metamorphose, the same thing.
मेटामॉर्फ का मतलब फॉर्म होता है.
Form होता है पर metam same.
Metamorphosis, correct. Change of form. So change of soul or change of the soul, like that. But psyche means soul. They called it psyche, जिसको हम अंतरात्मा कहते हैं या आत्मा कहते हैं, उसको वो लोग psyche बोलते हैं. ठीक है. So psychic is ordinarily used in the sense of anything relating to the inner movements of the consciousness or anything phenomenal in the psychology. Logos means study. So the study of the inner movements, that is what is called psychology. Yoga is nothing but practical psychology. ये मैंने quote किया था Sri Aurobindo को, right? But that psychology is a far more deeper psychology. जो normally psychological disciplines में पढ़ाते हैं, I am not sure कि how much they speak because I am not a मैंने पढ़ा नहीं है. I have some.
Western psychology, you mean?
Yeah, Western psychology.
Western psychology.
Yeah, Western psychology. India में psychology के BA के course में क्या कराएंगे? Whether they will teach Upanishad or Gita or Vedanta, I don't know. I really don't.
That is in BA. They teach. They talk about
teach Gita and
psychology
Upanishads?
is a subject. Philosophy. Sorry, philosophy.
But that should be part of
BA
psychology also.
MPhil वगैरह में ये कराते हैं. But what you just mentioned,
हाँ.
psyche plus logy. Logy is study. Psyche, as you said, is soul. But
Logos means word. The word logos literally means word. But मतलब उसको biology, study of life, like that.
study.
Geology,
Sorry,
study of earth.
हाँ,
So
study.
logy
Logos
means
means
study.
Logo means study, no?
Yes.
हाँ. So when you say psyche, modern Western psychology has actually expelled the psyche from the psychology, and it just deals with external consciousness. It doesn't talk about it has because it has expelled and banished it, so to speak, and it has never been able to bring it in because of the hocus pocusness, which they associate with the mysticism of yoga.
Essentially, I actually I'm not in touch with psychological discipline people or exactly क्या पढ़ाते हैं, तो I cannot pronounce that way. ठीक है? My feeling about the matter or my sense about it at present is that there is because see, I believe completely in what Mother has said, that the supermind has descended and it is working and all that. So psychology, like for example, there is a gentleman in the Delhi University. He's a disciple of Sri Aurobindo, devotee of Sri Aurobindo. उनका नाम मैं अभी भूल रहा हूँ. Suneet, I think was his name. So in the Delhi University courses in psychology, he had introduced something of Sri Aurobindo. Because of that, 2-3 people from Delhi have come and joined the ashram in Pondicherry. You see?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes. Suneet Verma, I think, is the name of the gentleman. I'm not sure whether he's still working. See, I don't know him. आज तक कभी conversation भी नहीं हुआ. I just know his name. I know his name because of Alokda. He knows Alokda very well, right? So, but 2 children come immediately. मेरे mind में आ रहे हैं. They are both ashramites right now, and they have come through the psychology discipline of Delhi University, and they have reached the ashram in Pondicherry. They are ashramites and young people. You see? तो वो हो रहा है इंडिया में तो डेफिनेटली सुनीत जी इज वन और जगह यूनिवर्सिटीज में हो रहा होगा आई डोंट नो बट हाँ एज अ होल व्हाट यू आर सेइंग जनरली द डिसिप्लिन ऑफ साइकोलॉजी मे बी दे आर स्टिल बिकॉज वो वही ना सबसर्वियंस टू द यूरोपियन थिंकिंग दैट हमारे यहाँ वेद उपनिषद में ज्ञान की कमी है या उसको कुछ नहीं समझना ऑल दैट tendencies are still there.
Even Alokda could be a good person too, because he has studied by modern Western
Yes.
psychology only as a
Yes.
psychiatrist. So
Yes. And what was I saying?
So why
Yes, sir, Arora ji.
in Indian universities, philosophy and psychology were integral. They were not two. They were not
Acha.
psychology separate. Philosophy
Acha.
was the main department. Earlier, this distinction has come subsequently after the Western psychology has taken over.
I see.
That is the background.
I see. And anything more you have to add, Arora ji?
Even now in Indian universities, not much of Sri Aurobindo has been inducted in the Department of Philosophy because that is highly influenced by Western.
True. Very true.
And just for the sake of completion of this whole thing we are trying to understand right now.
And the one additional point, then I'll...
No, please.
The word Chaitya.
Yes.
Chaitya, that Sri Aurobindo himself has taken from the Latin. Chaitya.
Latin कैसे होगा अरोड़ा जी?
I am told, I have not seen the reference.
नहीं. The word Chaitya comes from the Chit word in Sanskrit.
I understand. But there are many words which are similar.
Similar
I
हैं.
think he himself has said somewhere. I am not sure because this is a secondary information.
नहीं. I am not.
Okay.
हाँ. The word Chaitya comes from the word Chit in Sanskrit. Chit means
that
consciousness.
I understand. That I understand.
Correct.
Because
On the contrary, the word gnosis of English, Gnosis, which means knowledge, वो कहीं ना कहीं जो ज्ञाना वर्ड है संस्कृत का फॉर नॉलेज वो वहां से आता है. दैट ज्ञाना बिकम्स zen इन जापान. तो वो जो ज्ञाना का है वो जेन बन जाता है, zen बन जाता है, एंड वही थोड़ा सा मॉडिफाई होके ग्नोसिस करके, तो दैट ज्ञ कुछ लोग ज्ञाना बोलते हैं. दिस लिंक आई नो, gnosis, jnana, jnana, gnana, zen, etc. This sort of link I know between the words for knowledge. But ये chaitya का, psychic का, chaitya का, this I don't know.
No, psychic, of course, he himself has said it is from Greek.
Yes.
But
No.
Chaitya
The word chaitya cannot come from Latin. मतलब मैं तो नहीं समझ पाता. हो सकता है Latin में इस तरह का sound का कोई word हो. That may be.
All right. See, I am not authentic. I am just saying that is what I have learned. Maybe wrong.
If you will send me the quotation, then I'll be very grateful.
Okay.
But I mean, I'll just say, क्योंकि important point है आप जो बोल रहे हैं, जो word है चित word जो है for example.
हाँ, चित्र तो obvious है.
नहीं, मैं textual बता रहा हूँ. ऋग्वेद के अंदर ऋतचित word आता है. और everybody acknowledges in the world, all scholars who are any worth their salt basically, not the pseudo ones, वो तो वैसे तो बहुत सारे लोग हैं. They universally acknowledge Rigveda is the oldest scripture available to mankind. ठीक है? ऋग्वेद के अंदर ऋतचित वर्ड है, एंड देयर वहां से उठा करके श्री अरविंदो ने ट्रुथ कॉन्शियसनेस लाइफ डिवाइन में कॉइन किया विद अ हाइफन इन बिटवीन. तो द चित वर्ड इज देयर एज फार बैक एज ऋग्वेदा. तो आई मीन चैत्य वर्ड उसी से आता है.
कुछ I can't say more than what
No worries. तो I mean I just need to complete वो thread वरना otherwise mind में incomplete रहेगा. The reason for all this sort of immaturity in the European languages or English or this or that, it's because of the relative immaturity of the Western hemisphere basically, right? उनके वो spiritual evolution उस depth में नहीं हुआ है. Sri Aurobindo has mentioned कि how 4 times the spiritual energy has gone from Asia to Europe, but every time matlab its action has not been matlab the results have not been as satisfactory as they should have been. I'll share this also. It's very important कि हिस्ट्री में 4 बारी कब वो मूवमेंट यहां से वहां गया है. But that is the main reason कि depths of spirituality, depths of devotion that way, inner knowledge, etc., etc. All these things have not been so maturely understood, developed. एकदम वो blood and bones में चला जाए. It has not happened in the Western Hemisphere, by which I mean Europe, Americas, etc., to the extent that it has happened in Asia, and India being the center of that. Okay, this much should be clear to us. Then we can understand why English language is the way it is, etc., etc. Okay. Okay, so we have around 15 minutes. We'll complete these 2 letters today. Yeah. Somebody saying something? No. Okay. Psychic is ordinarily used in the sense of anything relating to the inner movements of the consciousness or anything phenomenal in the psychology. Okay. In this case, I have made a special use of it. Clearly, he's saying, in this case, mane for the psychic being, I have made a special use of it, relating it to the Greek word psyche, meaning soul. अब I don't know whether psyche pronounce करते हैं ग्रीक में या psyche करते हैं. I mean, normally अगर संस्कृत के हिसाब से चले the way of pronunciation, it should be pronounced as psyche. You know, कभी कभी ई जो है वो आकार के लिए यूज होता है, but you know that's the problem. So in this case, I have made a special use of it, relating it to the Greek word psyche, meaning soul. So the Greek word psyche means soul, but ordinarily, again, our practical purposes के लिए, people make no distinction between the soul and the mental vital consciousness. For them, it is all the same. This can, मतलब when we get into yoga and more consciously and all that, तो ये होता है. Soul word पता चल गया. We want to appear spiritual to ourselves, appear spiritual to others. You know, all that pretense which goes on in the human consciousness all the time. तो mental vital है, सब कुछ desire है, ये है वो, नहीं नहीं, but my soul, you know, soulmate मिल गया. Somebody is just looking attractive to you. Their physical, vital, or maybe even mental is attractive. No, 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 you are my soulmate. So these are all basically, you know, ways of deluding ourselves. You know, like that. So no distinction is made practically between the soul and the mental vital consciousness. For them, it is all the same. So that is why clearly Sri Aurobindo ने जो 4 parts में divide किया है, that way the lower part, lower hemisphere, mental, psychic, vital, and physical. Sometimes he uses the word material interchangeably for physical, but material word का क्या derivation है from Sanskrit that I have told earlier. Right? It comes from matter, which in turn comes from matri, which means mother. So matter is the mother of everything. Everything, you know, arises in matter. That is how the word material is derived. Okay, 9.5. Any question, anything to discuss on this one, second one? Anybody? No. Okay. Psychic in the sense in which it is used commonly by people has no definite meaning. It is applied to anything non-physical or supraphysical. What is called psychic phenomena. ठीक है ना? Yeah. जैसे वो भूत प्रेत वगैरह का जो करते हैं उसको पैरासाइकोलॉजी बोलते हैं. So the word they are using, वो जो रूट उसमें वैसा वाला है वो साइकी है, जो दूर का है. पैरा मतलब बियॉन्ड. पैरा में भी इट इज रिलेटिंग टू द परा ऑफ संस्कृत, कि जो नॉर्मल हम साइको को समझ पा रहे हैं साइकोलॉजी को, उसके थोड़ा बियॉन्ड का जो है तो हमने उसको पैरासाइकोलॉजी बोल दिया.
Absolutely, paranormal
वो वही
experiences.
सब परा से आ रहा है.
परा से
meaning
परा
higher.
ही है, correct.
The root is para. The Sanskrit root is that only.
सब अपना चुराया हुआ है.
Para
चुराए
means
नहीं बोलते, वो फ्लो हुआ है. Now instead of the Aryan
flow.
invasion theory, there is the Aryan migration theory. Even
हाँ.
through the haplogroups of the DNA and all, they have proven कि यहाँ से
अच्छा.
माइग्रेशन हुआ है. या पूरा वो सुदास का बैटल ऑफ द 10 किंग्स इन द ऋग्वेदा, फिर वो धीरे धीरे उस तरफ गए. वो बहुत लंबा सब्जेक्ट है, उसके लिए आई मीन यूट्यूब पे बहुत सारे
But it is
वीडियो.
proven, you are saying.
या इट्स प्रूवन.
अच्छा.
मतलब प्रूवन. सी दो जो लोग अपना वो बीन बजाना चाहते हैं पुराने टाइम का, वो आर्यन इन्वेजन थ्योरी को अभी भी करते हैं. बट सीरियस स्कॉलर्स आर नॉट, जो मतलब रियल स्कॉलर्स हैं, दे हैव स्टॉप टेकिंग इट सीरियसली नाउ.
अच्छा.
यस. एकेडमिक बुक्स में अभी भी चेंज हुआ है या नहीं, आई डोंट नो. आई डोंट हैव, मेरे पास नहीं है. बट लाइक इवन उसमें भी, आई शुड से दिस हियर, आई मीन Michel Denino, who is a disciple of Sri Aurobindo, he was with Supreme for 20 years. He was in charge of a committee NCERT वगैरह का, and some other people, of course, it's not all Sri Aurobindo. So in the history books, they have gotten the right history now. It's a big, big, big thing which has happened in the National Education Program. I got to know of this huge victory some मतलब 7-8 months ago. So social science की जो books हैं, history की जो books हैं, many of the historical corrections, they are being wrong, sorry, they are being corrected now. And Arun, there's a lady called Anuradha Chaudhary. She's a product of the Ashram School, working for IIT Kharagpur, but she went to Delhi, working with the NCERT, working with Michel Danino and
Yeah.
other scholars and all, and they have
IIT
made the
Kharagpur, yeah,
necessary
I know her.
corrections.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I know her.
I
IIT,
have learned
she's
Sanskrit from her. She used to teach spoken Sanskrit.
linguistic. Yeah, she
Yes.
is a linguistic
Basically a Sanskrit person, yes.
Sanskrit person. Yes, yes.
So, वो
So
changes आ रहे हैं.
in our history book, I remember in my time, it was Sri Aurobindo was just mentioned one line, and beyond, and when
There is a greater
when
mention of Sri Aurobindo in those books now.
that is good to hear. Even a picture now in my daughter's book, I find a picture at least. So somewhere some improvement is there.
Can you imagine the occult impact of Sri Aurobindo's picture being there in all the textbooks of Indian children, at least of NCERT? आप उसका occult implications calculate भी नहीं कर सकते कितने.
Yeah, true, true.
Imagine on the notes of our country, जो करेंसी नोट्स हैं, अगर महात्मा गांधी की फोटो की जगह श्री अरबिंदो की फोटो आ जाए तो क्या होगा? Our country will become prosperous overnight, यार. ये जो ट्रिलियन मिलियन का जितना भी गोल है ना, instead of waiting for it till 2047, I'm sorry, I'm speaking very this thing. Maybe it's because Swami Vivekananda's birthday, I don't know. But you will not have to wait till 2047. But again, उसमें disrespect भी होगा. वो नोट्स हर तरह सली होते हैं, उसमें गंदगी लगती है, एवरीथिंग. तो आई एम नॉट श्योर इफ इट्स सच अ गुड आइडिया. बट अगर एनसीईआरटी की बुक्स में श्री अरबिंदो की फोटो पब्लिश हो गई है, द ऑकल्ट इम्पैक्ट्स, द ऑकल्ट implications ऑफ दैट इज incalculable.
I was happy to see, because my time when
I'm
I
sorry,
used
it's
to
getting
just
too
hear the
devotional
word,
today.
it would make me happy, and I would look, nobody in the class would even know the name, ऐसा होता है, and unfortunate at that time. क्या करें?
Yes, and I'll just say this because Swami Vivekananda again and again उनका नाम सेशन में आ रहा है. He is actually in a sense, अगर आप evolution में देखें, जो relay race होती है ना, he is the one who handed over the baton to Sri Aurobindo. When Sri Aurobindo was in jail, Swami Vivekananda came to him for 14 days, and it is he who gave him the secret of the supermind. Sri Aurobindo did not know about it earlier. या ideas अगर होंगे भी तो वो vague होंगे. It is Swami Vivekananda who told him about the higher planes of consciousness leading up to the supermind. So Swami Vivekananda and Sri Aurobindo are absolutely and totally connected like this. Only Swami ji का जो वो है robe है, it is a sannyasi's robe, but he was like a Rajarshi. He was looking like a sannyasi, but he was actually a Rajarshi. You just see his life and क्या बोलूं मैं मतलब. I had shared a video of his today on the channel.
Yeah, very nice.
Yes, anybody has the time, please watch it. It's fantastic. मतलब एक मिनट जो है ना, on 55 minutes का, it will be worth spent. It's a fantastic video made by that person. Anyway, we'll come back to the last letter for today. Psychic, in the sense in which it is used commonly by people, has no definite meaning. It is applied to anything non-physical or supra-physical. Supra meaning ऊपर, ठीक है? In the language of our yoga, it refers always to the inner soul, basically the antaratma, the depth of our being, the absolute depth of our being. Yeah.
So Anmol bhai, supra-physical would here then also mean superconscient, or is it completely a different?
You can call that. You can call it that. Why
You
not?
can call it, right?
Supra-physical माने anything above the physical.
Above physical.
Vital is supra-physical, mental is supra-physical, everything is
Okay, okay, got it.
But when you use the word superconscient, mind you, no, you cannot actually. You cannot. So when you use the word superconscient, you are saying things beyond the mind. Because जैसे वो विबग्योर होता है लाइट के लिए, और अल्ट्रासाउंड, सॉरी, वो डेसिबल का रेंज होता है साउंड के लिए, उसी तरह से ह्यूमन कॉन्शियसनेस का जो नॉर्मल रेंज है, दैट इज अप टिल हियर, एंड दिस इज ऑलरेडी द माइंड कॉन्शियसनेस, राइट? So when you say superconscient, it means above the mind. So you cannot use the word supraphysical and superconscient interchangeably. That would be incorrect.
Okay, thanks for that.
In the language of our yoga, it always refers to the inner soul. Therefore, the use of the words psychic significance. Now we don't have the question with us, so we can't really understand this. Therefore, the use of the words psychic significance is incorrect here. One can say occult significance. Occult means hidden. The word occult, literal meaning उसका होता है hidden, छुपा हुआ. तो उस दृष्टि से तो psychic भी छुपा हुआ है, spiritual planes भी छुपे हुए हैं, सब कुछ छुपा हुआ है, like that. But normally जैसे occultism, So those who do sadhana to get the knowledge of the hidden planes and shaktis and all that, that is associated more with that. Going out of your body, all that is also part of spirituality, but in a, not in a direct way. Usse bhi spiritual development hota, but it's not the direct way to go about it. The direct way is what Sri Aurobindo is teaching, the psychicalization, self giving. अगर आपने कुछ भी कर लिया बट आपके अंदर से सेल्फिशनेस और डिजायर नहीं गई ना, एंड बेसिकली सेल्फिशनेस, देन ऑल योर स्पिरिचुअल डेवलपमेंट इज ऑफ नो यूज. इट्स ओनली इन नेम. ईगो का खाना, जो जीती ने इतना ब्यूटीफुल बोला, नो अदर, वो अदरिंग का चला जाना, मैं और ये जब तक वो है, वो स्पिरिचुअलिटी केवल नाम की है. इट्स नॉट रियली स्पिरिचुअलिटी, राइट? वन कैन से occult significance or symbolic significance. हाँ, symbol. So again, our body is a symbol. Symbol is what is visible. Okay. So the universe is a symbol of the divine. The divine is inexpressible in words, right? But he expresses himself through these symbols. Symbol को हिंदी में क्या बोलते हैं? चिन्ह, right? So all these are signs and symbols of that reality. The word symbol is actually, one needs to ponder and meditate over this word symbol. इसका अर्थ क्या है really? The universe is the symbol of the divine. What are the signs? What are the symbols that the divine is here? The intelligence that is at work at, in the universe, जो हमें चीजों के अंदर दिखाई देते हैं. ऑटोमेटिक एक ग्रोथ हो रही है चीजों के अंदर से. That means there is a hidden shakti, hidden. These are all symbols of the divine in that way. मुझे, I do not know the root of the word symbol. To do justice to it, मैं उसके root में जाना पड़ेगा. We're already almost close to our ending time. Yes.
ये जो supra physical and supra conscient, which I think somebody was asking if we could use it interchangeably.
No.
And you said no to that. But these planes, these things are at a very sukshma level, they are hidden and they're at the sukshma level.
Yeah, you can say that. See, supraphysical means basically any plane of consciousness above the physical, right? For example, just say when we go to sleep, so we are having dreams. These are experiences of the vital body. तो वो supraphysical ही है. But because we are tied to the physical body, so we feel as if it is happening to me, who is there embodied in the physical consciousness, like that. So supraphysical is not something very far. We are experiencing it every night. Understand? But super conscient, ki consciously going into the higher plane, if it is happening in a dream or trance or even in the waking state, that is something fantastic. That is really a attainment or partial attainment of a higher consciousness, of a spiritual consciousness.
That means these things are in our hand, gradually they can
everything is in our hand once we learn the secret. The secret is the psychic being. See, things are not in our hand as long as we are in the ego. Okay. Ego is what gives us the illusion of control, but it's a false thing. When the ego is gradually replaced by the true thing in us, our true individuality, ego is necessary. Ego is the helper, ego is the bar, right? But when the psychic being starts coming forward and that starts replacing the egoistic consciousness, then you will become more and more in control of your life. Your destiny will be governed consciously by the divine wisdom seated in your heart. So, dhire dhire, you learn processes like at a much more क्या कहते हैं, grosser level. Why is it not in control? We know so many mantras. जो ऋग्वेद के मंत्र हैं, जो देवता है वो उन मंत्रों में लिटरली बंधे हुए हैं. आप अग्नि का जो मंत्र है वो बोलो, यू विल फील द इनफ्लक्स ऑफ अग्नि. अग्निदेवा इज टाइड टू दोज वर्ड्स. तो कैसे कंट्रोल नहीं है? डेफिनेटली कंट्रोल है. बट इतना समझ आना, इतनी जागृति आना चेतना के अंदर, और ये तो कुछ भी नहीं है. It should grow more and more and we become master of ourselves gradually. This is the whole meaning of yoga. योगा का दूसरा मीनिंग है सेल्फ मास्टरी. सेल्फ मास्टरी.
That will be the attainment of supramental being.
नहीं, सेल्फ मास्टरी, टोटल सेल्फ मास्टरी, yes, but मतलब a good deal of self mastery can happen much before the supermind. Supramental being, Jiti, is the creator, ekdam perfect creator. So yes, in that sense, only when we have attained it, then we have mastery even over the physical. This is what Sri Aurobindo has said about the supramental consciousness. Ki when you attain the supramental consciousness fully, then you are free from decay, disease, death, even all those things. You leave your body at will. You can create your own body through a through a spiritual process, through an occult process. तो वो बहुत हाई लेवल ऑफ मास्टरी की बात है, बट सम काइंड ऑफ सेल्फ मास्टरी जो साइकिक बीइंग के बाहर आने से, इट्स कमिंग फोर्थ, उसके आने से जो मास्टरी होती है, फॉर दैट वी नीड नॉट वेट विद द सुपर माइंड. दैट वुड बी रिडिकुलस.
No,
It's a
that's
growing,
really
basically in everything on earth there is a procedure. So self mastery is also a process. वो कैसे होगा? As our soul becomes more and more dominant, as the Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram starts dominating our consciousness, we become more and more genuinely good, true and beautiful in our consciousness. Yes. इसीलिए तो उसको बोलते हैं ना पुरोहित. अग्निमीले पुरोहितम. Purohita is the leader. Purohita literally means placed in front. Puraha means in front. Hita means placed, like that. That is how Sri Aurobindo derives it in Hymns to the Mystic Fire, volume 16, page 471 के आसपास है, right? So yeah, so placed in front. So when the psychic being is the leader of the journey, then things are much more in our control. That is the true mastery.
very good. Thank you.
One can say occult significance or symbolic significance or inner significance. Psychic significance, we can say only of experiences belonging to the psychic, exactly, as opposed to the mental, vital, and physical planes. Yeah. Like, for example, you see your soul in the form of a child or a bird or a flower or some such thing. That is indicating the soul. Or you have a very beautiful psychic dream of the psychic world, perhaps. Matlab, yeah, you feel some kind of a blossoming in the heart. You actually see that visually. That would be closer to a psychic experience and psychic. And ये तो चलो मैं experience पे सीधा चला गया, like that. But the changes that are happening in your consciousness, devotion, for example, something I guess all of us can relate to. When you feel that pure motiveless devotion towards the divine, which is not wanting anything in return. It loves the divine simply because I am I and the divine is the divine. That is something very significant from the psychic point of view. It is not mental, vital, or physical. And I mean, since GT, such an importance of pura whole session ke, that mastery thing, so it is the bringing forth of the psychic being which alone can give us the true mastery. इसके लिए संस्कृत में जो words हैं, स्वराट, becoming your own ruler, and then samrat, ruling everything. Sam means total, everything, total ruler. But पहले स्वराट, स्व मतलब self, and that स्वराट happens more and more as the true king, जो psychic being है, it replaces the ego in our consciousness, the egoistic consciousness. Shall we close with a minute of silence?
If you have time to address that question, would you be able to, or
I'll
should we
try.
next time?
I actually have not thought about it, so I'll try. नहीं, अभी कर लेते हैं, वरना फिर वो टल ही जाएगा. 1 second. So the question that he is referring to, in the last session, we looked at psychic sorrow. Quote, it has a kind of quiet, sweet sadness of yearning, which it feels when things go against the divine, when the obscurity and obstacles are too heavy, when the mind, vital and physical, follow after other things, when evil and falsehood and darkness seem to be too strong for the light. It does not despair, but feels that these things ought not to be, and the psychic yearning for it to be otherwise becomes so intense that it is felt as if something akin to sadness. Unquote. Dhavalbhai's question is,
ये नहीं समझ में आया था. Even I read it, but I couldn't understand this.
Acha. If situations are too demanding, can the psychic decide to withdraw back from a particular life instance? You mean from the birth itself, or you mean what?
No, psychic grows through multiple lives.
Yeah.
So one instant of that life,
Instant मतलब क्या है?
instant in the sense, not in instant as in time, but that
That
period
birth
of
itself.
that birth itself, yes.
Okay, okay. Decide to withdraw back from a particular life instance and decide to come back later, or does it simply endure till the end of that life instance? One second. I don't think the psychic gives up so easily. The psychic grows by terrestrial experience and it stays in the body as long as it is able to make any progress through that. Human body is something very, very, very precious. Even the gods are, लालाहित रहते हैं इसके लिए. विष्णु पुराण में 4-5 श्लोक हैं. So I don't think that it leaves the life just because there is
Too much of suffering or anything.
yeah. I don't
So it
think
will endure, and that is
it
taken as
will
a part
endure.
of experience.
On the contrary, वो जो strength आएगी, the true
हाँ,
strength to go through that, it will flow from and that is actually how the psychic strength will, flow from the soul spark to the psychic being, because ultimately सारी चीजों का जो source है, it is the divine nucleus within us, which is the spark soul, right?
makes
उससे फिर
sense.
वो flow करेगा into the psychic personality and individuality, and it becomes stronger and stronger because of that.
Yeah, so
It will not
endurance, it will
leave.
take it as a food, right? You'll take
Yes,
it as a food for growth.
exactly. हर तरह के लाइफ
Good, good.
एक्सपीरियंसेस जो हैं वो साइकिक बीइंग के लिए एक उसके इट डज नॉट काउंट इट एज अ पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव दैट वे फॉर इट इज सिंपली एन एक्सपीरियंस.
Got it. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And there is a certain economy in nature among things. So you have gotten this body because of it's the most sacred thing, to have a human body and to be able to evolve consciously towards the divine through this body, right? आपके कितने जन्मों का जो पुण्य फल है जो भी है उसकी वजह से you have this particular attainment, it will not be, it's a, I mean, this is the most
Yeah,
sacred.
economy of nature will not work
Yes,
like that.
yes. And like there is a line in one of Shivandu, an eon thou has taken to evolve, and eon thou shalt rule. तो जो चीज प्राप्त करने के लिए इतना समय गया है उस चीज का पूरा यूज होगा फॉर द फर्दर एवोल्यूशन. इट वोंट बी थ्रोन अवे जस्ट लाइक दैट.
Correct.
That is what my common sense and this thing tells me.
No, no, good we discussed it because that clarifies it. Because then in that case, that sorrow which we try to evaluate in
Yes. So it
human
will sort
terms.
of, वो sorrow में क्या होगा? So if the outer being's difficulties and all are too much, so it will just withdraw and wait for the maturity to come in the outer being, and then it will, you can
Okay.
actually think of it through a personification. So let's say you have a child and you are the parent, okay? तो अभी आप अपने बच्चे को कुछ समझा रहे हो, ठीक है? और उसको अभी नहीं समझ में आ रहा, तो you don't keep pressing it, right? You wait.
Yeah.
It seems as if you withdraw.
You wait for the time till that thing becomes ready to accept.
Exactly. But when you see that the time has come, you again tell that.
Okay. Okay.
So that elder person is the psychic being, and that younger child to whom the knowledge or clarification is trying to being given is the vital being, basically, the vital or physical, whatever.
Got it. Got it. So basically, it will try to surmount it
Yes,
despite all this by
definitely.
simple withdrawal, but not
Def-
withdrawing life. It will
अरे
go back in its cave, or so to say.
definitely. ईशोपनिषद में बोला है जिजी विशेष शतम समाह.
Shatam Samaha. Yeah, no. I just wanted this clarification. इसलिए मैंने पूछा कि if it
Yeah.
finds it too heavy, the what really happens?
आई वुड ये केस टू केस बेसिस पे डिफर भी करेगा, पता है. अगर आप यूनिवर्सली बोलें एंड कॉमन
No,
सेंसिकली एंड
generally,
लॉजिकली बोलें,
I'm talking in general sense.
जनरली इट वोंट हैपन.
Exceptions is forget.
Exceptions, yeah.
ये
Exceptions.
spiritual exceptions, so I'm not qualified to even talk about.
Even that's what I'm not qualified. For that, you need to have the proper soul vision, absolutely clear soul vision.
No, but thanks, that helps here.
Okay. Jeeti?
No, nothing. Thank you, Anmol. It was very nice.
Yeah. We'll just half a minute to 1 minute of silence.
Oh, thank you, Sita. Thank you.